Hello everyone, my name is JS Matthews and welcome back to Writing and Role-Playing. Today I have a pretty exciting episode. I wanted to share with you something I've been working on for the past couple months. As you can see on the screen, I've been real busy painting some miniatures here. This is actually my first ever commission. And so I had a friend come to me and he has a copy of the Dark Souls board game. And so he handed it over to me and I spent some time painting it for him. And I just kind of wanted to share with you guys what I've done. If you haven't played the Dark Souls board game yet, it is pretty fantastic. He had me actually paint the base game, which you're seeing on the screen now, and a couple of extra models, which I will be showing you. We're actually going to start with one of those extra models. This is the Black Dragon Calamite, if you've ever played the game. Fantastic boss. Definitely one of the, at least I thought at first it was going to be one of the harder models to paint, but it really ended up being really fun. I started with just a black primer and then did some dry brushing with Balthazar Gold, just a real light dry brushing to bring out those scales, as you can see, and then used some ivory to pick out the spikes and the bone horns and all that. And then I think I did a pretty good job painting the center of its head too with that jewel. But yeah, overall I think it turned out great. I loved the basing, just using some flocking and some grout to make sort of a nice little base. And yeah, this turned out to be a great model. I kind of wish I would have been able to keep it, because I think throwing this down in front of my players during a game would have been pretty cool. Here's a couple fun little shots of the heroes kind of having a showdown with the Black Dragon Calamite. Now next up, I think we'll just head straight into the heroes here. There are 4 of them in the base game, and I went through and kind of painted each of them a little bit different and tried some different techniques, so I'll point those out as I go. But first off, we have the Assassin, and I'm not sure I like the blue hood as much. I might, if I were to do it again, I might have made the hood black instead of blue. But overall, I think it looks pretty good. I like that rapier as well. I think that looks really good. Now the second hero is the Herald. Kind of like a holy paladin kind of character with a spear and a shield. I got to actually practice some really fun looking metallic kind of painting techniques with this one, and I think that shield especially turned out pretty good. Next we have the warrior, and again, nice shield, axe, ready to hit things in the face with an axe and kill them. Great character, and I got to practice a couple other fun little techniques, especially with the windshield there. And this is probably my favorite one. This is the knight, and that right there is something I have never done before, painting on those really small details. I think they look a little better when they're a little further away. But overall, I think the 4 heroes turned out really, really great. I loved the different techniques I got to try, and everything turned out pretty good. The next set I painted were actually the hollows. You see them in this image, sort of like having a nice little showdown with the heroes there. And these were actually some pretty cool models to paint. I actually had a big sort of brute with the big axe, and then we had a crossbowman, and then the basic hollow soldiers. And I used a lot of grays and rust effects, and the crossbowmen turned out pretty good there. I like them. But I think these soldiers turned out the best. I love the sort of little orange and brown rust effects I was able to add to the shields and the swords and the helmets. And I think that really kind of brought out just kind of the differences in each of these characters. And I really actually liked the way they looked. Next up we have Ornstein and Smo. And probably 2 of the most famous bosses in Dark Souls history. And yeah, really different kind of paint style. I actually got to just use a lot of Balthazar Gold over a black primer, and then just dry brushed it up with different colors of gold, just kind of make it stand out. And just a couple fun little shots for you, just to kind of show off what these guys ended up looking like. Again, these actually turned out to be pretty easy. Just a layer of Balthazar Gold, and then I grabbed a couple different layers of bright gold and just dry brushed it up. And it really came out almost perfect, exactly what I wanted it to look like. And again, if you're ever thinking about painting these guys are a good place to start. Just very few colors and pretty easy to do. Next up we have the Winged Knight and then the Boreal Outrider. And we're going to start with the Boreal Outrider. Again, kind of a pretty cool looking armored soldier with sort of like an icy sword there and some glowing effects on the front eyes there. I also finished up the Sentinels, another kind of very metallic, soldier-like paint job. A lot of these are very metallic, and it gave me a chance to practice some different things I hadn't really done before. And I think they turned out really cool. Here we have the Winged Knight, lots of shading in the blue areas there, and again, lots of different metallics. I started off with sort of like a darker, I think it was the Iron Warriors, darker sort of blackish metal, and then kind of brought it up to a silver, and yeah, thought it turned out pretty good. Again, couple new techniques, and I really liked them. This one, the Gargoyle, actually turned out to be kind of an interesting one. I started by painting all the metal pieces. I think I did a little bit too much of the corrosive color there. I covered up the metal just a little bit too much. If I were to redo it, I would do that definitely a little bit less, but I still think it's a great looking model. I would love to actually have this model to throw down against my players. I think that'd be pretty fun. We also have the Titanite Demon. Now this is probably the easiest one out of all of them. All I did was give it a base coat of a primer that was plate mail, so it was a silver primer, and then just hit it with a bunch of washes, and then did a little bit of dry brushing over the top, and I think it turned out pretty darn good overall. Next up, we have the Dancer of the Boreal Valley. I think it's Dancer of the Boreal Valley. This one was interesting. This took me a long time, layers upon layers of just blue, trying to lighten it up. She's supposed to have a very almost like flowy, almost see-through sort of cloak there, and I went with kind of like the darker blues and the lighter blues, and then just kind of accentuated it with some silver for the armor, and then gold for just kind of some emphasis on the different armors and stuff like that. Finally, we have the one I was looking forward to the most. This is the Gaping Dragon. If you've played Dark Souls 1, you know this boss. Absolutely amazing design, very unique, and I think this might end up being one of the best paint jobs I've ever done. I also did the base with some resin. Actually, this is the first time I've ever done a base with a resin pour, because the dragon lives in sort of a sewer system. I thought it'd be kind of cool. I actually cut those stones out of foam core, detailed them, textured them, painted them up, and then eventually did the resin pour, and I think it just turned out absolutely fantastic. What a great model. And again, if I were to throw this down on my tables, this is definitely going to cause some sanity checks for my players. I mean, look at that. What a terrifying creature. Absolutely loved it. Really fun paint job. The colors on the scales are actually a little bit lighter in real life. They tend to blend in a little bit, but overall, I think it turned out fantastic. So there you have it. That's what I've been up to for the past couple months, just finishing out school. School's finally out, so I actually have some time to really get back to making some videos. Definitely expect a video every about 2 weeks. I know I went to about 3 weeks recently just because I didn't have as much time as I would like, but that's all right. We're going to try to get back on track here. I have some UDT videos coming your way. We're going to read a little bit from one of my books called The Marshal, and another called The Whistler. The Whistler, I already did The Marshal. But I just released The Whistler, so it's a post-apocalyptic Western, so we'll be looking at that as well. But yeah, I have a lot of other stuff coming your way. We're going to talk about sanity systems, and I kind of thought this would be a fun little video just to kind of at least talk about that a little bit with some of these monstrous creatures and how, my players have to make sanity checks when they come up against them. And so we'll talk through that system as well and how you can incorporate it into your game. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and maybe even subscribe. I have plenty of other stuff coming your way. And if you ever want to support me and my channel, just check out my books on Amazon. I always put links to them in the description, or you can just check out my other videos for free. Anyways, hope you all have a great day. Thanks again for checking out my channel, and I will see you in the next episode, and good luck with all your writing and role-playing.